Alright, so boom, audio quality is pretty good. So that was 2 minutes of what's gonna probably start with 15 minutes. 15 minutes is not too bad, not too short, immersive, whatever that is. You're not gonna get me, but that should be pretty good. So the very first C we're going to start with is type but no, no cursing in this one or any of the C's or any of these. This particular C is going to be Christianity. Yes. Okay. So if you don't like the topic, that's tough. That's tough because big Christian over here. You know what I mean? The given name, whatever you want to call it, point blank period. You know, raised up in it, kind of went along with it as I feel most people do. It's not really until you go through a lot of things, adversities, or more specifically, it's not until you go through something scriptural that was already in the text, right? That was already in the Bible. It's not until you go through one of those that you really understand what it means to be a Christian, right? So, there's plenty of ways. There's plenty of ways. I won't try to pastor or nothing like that, but that is what it becomes. That is what it becomes. Okay. So, of course, there's verses that we could go over life experiences. We could go over biblical experiences. We could go over all three plus more. We could go over any number of things. I'm not gonna list them all right now. It's gonna be a surprise. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be entertaining, exciting, etc. So, scriptural base, church based, church related. All those things packed in one. You know, Holy Trinity, of course. If you don't believe in that, that's tough because, of course, that is the backing of what this is, what Christianity specifically is, specifically what it is, right? So, got that very first part of that. So, and it just rolls on. So, a lot of that is what is taught, right, in church, right? If you don't know that, that's tough. But first thing you learn, right? And you learn famous scriptures, famous passages, famous stories, water and wine, Ten Commandments, who David is, who Moses is, who Isaiah is, maybe. Most of the Genesis stories, we hear about that. Genesis, Exodus, we hear about that. The Psalms, we know about that. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the four apostles, we know that. Four of the 12, 90 something percent of people only know those four. I don't know the percentage, but I'm just gonna say it's facts, right? It's facts, but it's true. It's crazy, but it's true. It's absurd, but it's true. But that's how it goes, right? So a lot of people don't really focus on things unless it's at the forefront, right? So you can know about things, right? You can research things, you can study things. That's three. That's like three levels, three tiers. Where you can hear about things, know, hear, research, study. I'm pretty sure that is. You can play it back if it's not. But basically, that's the four. Um, you can say the understanding of that could be beginner. Uh, we're gonna say intermediate. We're gonna say very knowledgeable. Let's you know don't quote me on that. It's not gonna be the three tiers. It's not gonna be the three tiers. But basically, that's what it comes down to, right? So someone can tell you something, right, and you can run with it, or someone can tell you something and you immediately disregard it, or someone can tell you something and you can research more into it, or someone can tell you something and automatically believe it, no questions asked, right? No questions asked. You do the research, you just hear it, or refute it immediately. So why that's important here is because I don't know if it's gonna be, I don't know if you could say that culturally, traditionally, or just what is taken as or what is accepted as a lot of the, how do I say this? A lot of the concept, not concepts, a lot of the understanding, a lot of the acceptance, right? And acceptance, that's a big thing. Christianity, I'm not pastor, right? Don't quote me. Whatever I say, don't say, oh, he said this. Oh, he's not. You know what I mean? No, we're just getting started. We're just getting started. We're only like we're 7 minutes in the first video. Plus, this is about it's about 7:50, right? 7:50. One, two, three. So the point is, it shouldn't just be. It shouldn't just be. Let me see. It shouldn't just be ran with, and it shouldn't just be heard, but it should be researched as well. And part of it is refuting. So you can refute it, but the way in which people do that, like it'll be refuted, but the whole entire concept is refuted. If that makes any sense. So that's like saying, so in order to make intermediate colors, you need the three primary colors. Forgot those. I'm gonna say blue is probably one of them. It's probably one of them. Orange is, could be one of them. I don't know for sure, but in order to move past the primary colors, or in order to get to secondary, in order to get to every other color, you need the primary colors, right? But if you don't accept the primary colors, then how can you accept or run with the intermediate or other colors? So if you go to a person, right, who's kind of shaky, or just doesn't accept Christianity, like period, they're always going to be like, oh, Holy Trinity, that doesn't make any sense, or such and such miracle, how is that possible, or somebody wrote it, somebody changed it, burned in history, blah blah blah. They're trying to subjugate people. There's plenty ways to look at that. There's plenty ways logically to process that, such as, or in the same way, there's many ways to process a lot of things, right? But it's not in such a way, or it shouldn't be in such a way where if you're refuting the primary basis of what Christianity is, if you're refuting that, if you're not accepting that, then you deny the entire thing, right? It's not like it's not like saying where that wouldn't be the case, right? Where that wouldn't be the case would be something probably in entertainment, right? So we were to talk about like TV shows or like sports or something like that. Such and such team is not that great, but not necessarily because that team is not great that another team is great. So if you were to pull like three teams, I'm pretty sure they're all, as of this recording, pretty bad right now. They have good players, but they're pretty bad right now. We're talking about Charlotte Hornets, or we're talking about uh, Utah Jazz, or we're talking about, let's see, we're talking about Brooklyn Nets, right? Because those three teams are not good, that doesn't necessarily mean that a team like Boston or a team like you know Spurs, no, not Spurs. Spurs getting there, but more like OKC or something like that. Because those three teams that I just named first, because they're not good, doesn't necessarily mean, or because they're not good, does not mean their performance automatically makes another team good, right? So they can have better individual players, right? They can have better team, a better system, better coach, better structure, right? Better history or whatever. But obviously, that's not going to be the case, especially not for Boston. Boston. LA. You know what I mean? It's hard to beat those teams in terms of everything they built. But that aside the point, because one thing is true, another thing is not true. So you can't use logic in that way. And there's different types of logic, but that won't be in this particular episode. Because this, therefore this isn't, or because this isn't, this is, which is the inverse of what I just mentioned, or if this is not true, therefore the rest cannot be true. If you were to use that kind of logic, that would probably be more so like ideas, right, or concepts. So religion at face value, which is, you know, if you were to ask me, or if you were to ask like, you know, real deal, you know, Christians, or you know how we actually, you know, feel about it, we wouldn't say it's a religion. We wouldn't just say, oh, it's, you know, five things you have to do every time, or you're not quite Christian. Although, you know, you would have to be baptized and, you know, born again before you pass, you know, before you can, you know, be accepted to heaven, right? So certain things you would have to do, but in terms of, you know, that's in terms of what a religion is, it, you know, I would say it's more so like tenets. I know that's coming from a particular kind, or a particular one. I know there's going to be, I know one of them refers to their principles as tenets, right? I know even Buddhism, we're not even going to say the other ones by name. That's not what this is. So, in none of these episodes and situations are anything aside what I'm talking about, unless it, you know, calls for it, unless I bring it to the table first. They're not going to be put down to make my point come across, right? That's not what this is going to be. Is, you know, it's wild, but that's just how it's going to have to be. So that's not the principle that, you know, I'm going to run with these by. You know, it's like do unto others as you want done unto yourself, right? Things of that nature. Treat others how you want to be treated. Things of that nature. Things of that, you know, of that, etc. Right? So, one and down on this one. It's about 14:45, 6, 7. So, fact of the matter is, you know, Christianity, that's me. Big Christian right here. So, it's not a religion, it's a way of life. See you next time.